Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends. And indeed, I have a bunch of friends here. I would even dare say that they're family, they're brothers. And one of which helped launch this show so many years ago, making his return. And of course, folks, we're talking PlayStation. State of Play happened. Lots to get into. I liked it. I mean, I'm going to say this. It was better than the last two. That is for sure. And if anyone is a Silent Hill fan like me, Silent Hill 2 looked dope. And again, you have a free Silent Hill game, which is first person. It looks kind of dope. I believe they said it was available today. If it is, I'm going to download it after the show. And of course, we got to talk about the financials for Microsoft. I think what we saw happen is just literally the tip of the spear for what is going to happen moving forward. But you know, again, I don't make a dime off of their financials, right? They literally almost made all the money back from ABK. I don't get any of that. What do I get out of it? See, that's the question. That's the question we're going to ask the panel here, and of course, ask the chat is what does this actually mean for Xbox gamers? Like we're going to get into the numbers. We're going to break all of the numbers down. They're impressive. They beat PlayStation. It's the most Xbox has ever made. It's like check marks left, right, and center. But at the end of the day, I kind of want to have the conversation of what that actually means for me and for you, the consumer, the Game Pass subscriber. What does all of these big numbers actually mean? We're going to break that down as well. But Forte, what's going on, brother? Some beef in the streets just because you were rooting for your home team, the Lions? I don't see a problem with that. I mean, if the Giants went to the Super Bowl, I would probably be rooting for the Giants because one, my brother's a Giants fan, and it's my home team, even though I'm a diehard Steeler fan. Slow-mo, give this man a break, will you please? Listen, how you feeling, brother?
I'm good, man. You know, it was fun. It was a fun weekend just because of all the football stuff. It was cool. You know, I got my Patriots gear on now, but I tried to tell people, I was like, listen, I am not like Cowboy fans. I refuse to root for a team that's going to let me down at the end of every freaking year. I'm not doing
That's what happened.
And that's what and listen, and it was it's not the same old Lions, but they are different, but once again, they let me down at the end of the year, and I was like, "Oh Lord!" But that's why I can't root for them.
I thought they had that team when they were up 24-7. I was like, "This is man." They got 48 points.
Listen, I literally, and I'm gonna tell you, this is the truth. In that first half, I literally was going to take. I was like, "We're going to the Super Bowl, Dad." I was going to take my dad to the Super Bowl. I was going to drain my bank account because it would have been the first. I don't think that would ever happen again.
Yeah,
I was literally going to break my account and go to the Super Bowl to take my dad if we would have made it there, because he a true Lions fan.
Oh, he's
not like me.
They did you a favor and lost, so you don't have to waste your money. You know, you got to look at it positively.
You can save it for E3 now.
Yeah,
whatever it's going to be cool.
Well, other than that, man, when you hit me up this morning, yesterday, and asked me about coming, I was like, yeah, heck yeah. I wasn't working today. I was like, I definitely will always love to come through and hang out with you guys. And we got a state of play to talk about. So it's going to be a great time. But appreciate the invite. You always keep this show running and everything, and it's great. And I appreciate being here with you.
Well, we appreciate you being here with us as well. Hargeet Chani, oh boy, he's got the ponies in the background looking on the sugar or the salt, whatever. We were talking in the green room. You were not thrilled with State of Play, and you're going to break down for us what that was. Folks,
or as we should just call it from now on, State of Decay. Because that is what they are in.
Holy matrimony. Okay, listen, we're gonna roll with it because King David, good friend, brother of pretty much everyone, gave it a 3 out of 10. Yikes. And you know, he broke it down the way King David breaks it down. I originally gave it an 8, went back and rewatched it, and now I have moved my score down to a 7. And I'm going to break down why it is. And listen, I'm going to say it. I said it before. The horror stuff is right up my alley. I'm excited for Until Dawn. If it's built from the ground up, it looked really good. I've beaten it. I don't know what they're going to do with this. I hope that's a game I'll spend the $10 to upgrade because I love the original one. And it's probably still some of the best PS4 graphics. I'm not buying it at full boat. If it's a $70 game and they don't give me an option for a $10 upgrade because I own it digitally, I'm not buying it. But Hargeet, welcome, man. How you doing?
I have to unmute. Sorry. I mean, I just finished I was on C Money's podcast right before this.
Oh, nice.
Watched that live
Doing double duty.
reacted to it. But yeah, it's an interesting one. And we'll get into like why I feel the way I do, but I'm feeling good enough. Just the state of decay. We'll get into that and much more.
Doesn't Xbox have a game called that?
They do. It's actually a really good game.
I wonder when we're gonna see it.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
I don't need to see it because they have other games coming out. But anyhow.
Well, listen, we're gonna get into it, folks. And as you can see, this is non-spoilery footage. Listen, I don't care what anyone tells you. I had a guy come in. I had to ban him because he comes in to insult me, which is why. I'm a happy-go-lucky kind of a guy. Why are you going to insult me? He's like, oh, Boom is playing another monotonous, mediocre game that he's going to say he likes. Okay, you're banned. I mean, I could have said something worse, but we don't like the curse here. So go SAD, guy. You know, what can I tell you?
Right.
But look, listen, folks, I bought the game. I spent $100. WB Games does not know who Double Barrel Game is, and they didn't offer me a code. I kind of like the idea that I buy the games, kind of like an ACG. He buys his stuff, he reviews it, he doesn't know anyone's shit, and that's how I'm feeling. And folks, I got to tell you, I'm damn near 20 hours in, and I still haven't unlocked some of the slots for my gear set because I'm finding Riddler trophies, I'm doing Riddler missions. It's just dope. It's for me. I'm loving it. But Hey Asante, how are you doing? Much better than last week, for crying out loud. Welcome.
Good evening. Good evening. No, I'm doing great. I appreciate it. Yes, much better than last week. And yes, the state of play was upon us. I was just watching that. I have thoughts. Well, welcome, Mr. Forte. It's always good to have you here, sir.
What's
up? Of course, Hargeet. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, we haven't been together with Forte and I for a while now. Usually RDX. Yeah. We used to check in every now and then, and we just haven't had an RDX in a while. So I haven't talked to Forte in a while.
I know, that's what I said. I was like, man, I haven't seen you in a while, Hargy.
Yeah.
Well, listen, let's rip the Band-Aid off, folks. Let's get into state of play. Obviously, this is the first one of the year. A lot of people were wondering where that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth footage was. They did confirm at the end of the show that they are going to have a separate direct, if you will, for the game on the 6th of February. I mean, look, I'm buying it. It's not coming to Xbox. Just like I bought Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'm going to buy Rebirth because it's not coming to Xbox.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to watch their direct because I don't really want to see anymore. It's kind of like, I think someone was saying in one of our chats, very similar to Hellblade. I just want the game. I don't want to know and see it anymore. I don't want to watch a video of it. I just want to play the game. And I feel the same way about Final Fantasy Rebirth. It's going to be great. That's, they did a great job with it. I love the remake and I'm a fan. So, and I'll start first with Forte. Forte, one of the things we were talking about in the green room, at least for me. Now, I am going to, I had it at an 8. I dropped it down to a 7 because I rewatched the show. I couldn't find anything in 4K. I just watched direct their state of decay or state of play, whatever you want to call it, over, and it was fine. There were a couple of takeaways. Look, I first of all, again, for me, the two Silent Hill things, I'm a horror guy. Yes, yes, and yes. Until Dawn looked really good. Again, if it's a $70 game, I'll catch it on the sale during Black Friday and I
Right.
will play through it again. I'm not going to spend $70 on a game that I already beat. I'm not going to do that. The two games that I had on my bingo card as excited was Stellar Blade.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, that looks the shininess of it all. It looked ridiculously good. I didn't walk away that blown away today. The graphics looked a little dated for me. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy the game and give it the old college effort because it is an exclusive. The one that I think really hurt me was Rise of the Ronin,
Mm-hmm.
because I am dying for Ghost of Tsushima 2. I platinumed the original. It's by far one of the best new IPs. Now, again, I feel about Horizon. I love the Horizon series, but that game is just dope. So I'm waiting for a sequel. Hopefully, we get that in the next 2 years or so.
Right.
So Rise of the Ronin, I saw it and I'm like, see, I don't want to be the guy that goes downgrade because I don't like saying that.
Right.
But it didn't look as good as the first time we saw it. Graphics again looked a little dated. I don't know. Like I said, I think 7 is a fine score considering that the last two I gave like 3s. They were terrible. And look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was hoping to maybe be turned like a vampire for soap stars, foam stars. I keep saying soap stars, and it looked just as terrible as the first time I saw it. The characters look so wacky, and it's such a ripoff of Splatoon. It's shameless. It's a shameless ripoff. So I'm definitely not excited. Rise of V had me excited because I thought it was an actual a new game for Legacy of Kain. If you remember, there was an isometric one with the vampire way back in the days. I was like, holy shit, is that what this is? And I'm excited for the combat, but I saw him chopping wood, and I'm like, oh God, please don't be a resource game. I don't like those. So I'm a little excited, but if it's a resource, if I got to build my own coffin, I'm not playing. I'm gonna tell you that right now, straight up. So I walked away with a 7. There were some things I liked. Again, I don't know if this is an insult. I don't know if this is a good way of saying it. What I can say is I walked away from today's show saying, my God, at least it was better than what they had last year. Now, some people may say, well, that's not really good enough. I'm not going to argue with you, but I think a 7 is fair. Again, I watched it twice, and look, I know Death Stranding looked a little even more wacky than the original, but you got to admit that game looked freaking amazing. I put 60 hours into the first one, and I didn't buy it. My brother bought it for me. He's like, boom, you got to play this game. I think you're going to dig it. 60 hours later, I'm at the end. I didn't beat it, but I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I'm probably going to buy Death Stranding too. That's what I have a PlayStation 4 for exclusives, and there are quite a few exclusives here. Let's get your hot takes on this, Forte.
Whew. Okay. So I gave it a 7 out of 10 right off rip. And it was like, for me, I like the show. It literally is the best one they have done in, it feels like, years at this point, outside of like the standalone ones where they do it for a specific game. Like when it comes to like a hodgepodge of game, this was actually a pretty good one. The biggest thing for me is it's kind of opposite for me. Like, I think Stellar Blade was the one that kind of, like, I saw that out the gate and I was like, yo, this might actually be a good show, because I expect a little bit of a downgrade when I see these games now, because anytime they show off a game, I'm kind of like, okay, this is not going to be what the game looks like when it finally comes out. And I felt like it wasn't too bad of one. So I was actually like, okay, and I was always excited for that game. But the biggest thing that hit me was everything else outside of Dragon's Dogma and, of course, Death Stranding. just didn't, like, in my mind, I was expecting more. Like, I was expecting more out of the Silent Hill 2 game. I was expecting more out of Until Dawn Remaster. Phone Star was just something that they just threw in there. V Rising is a PC game that I could have played already, and it's good that it's coming to PlayStation. And I think that actually helps keep the score up because more people get to play more of these games. But I'm gonna ask you this, Boom. What do PlayStation gamers tell you the benefit of being on PlayStation is?
Having exclusives is high quality exclusives.
Exactly.
That's the narrative.
That's the narrative. And part of me kind of feels like this show was kind of like a more of a flip of that for me, because I go into these PlayStation experiences like State of Play, and in my mind, I'm like expecting more than I'm actually going to get from them when it comes to certain things. Now, these aren't their first party, so I don't want to hold them 100% to that, because first party is where they really, really try to shine in that regard. But I always hear from a lot of gamers on PlayStation that it's all about quality. Any games that come on PlayStation, they're always better than they are on another platform, or it's like a little bit like second party and third party deals. Those games really, really stand out because PlayStation identified those games and they wanted to lock them up so they can be these really good looking games that you're going to see, or really good games in general. So I thought when, with all the buzz of Silent Hill, I was thinking like Silent Hill is going to probably look really good. And it was like, okay, it's Silent Hill. It doesn't look, I mean, it didn't
look like
more.
Resident Evil 2 good.
Right. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
It didn't. And I'm one of those people like you. I know there's people like you that are going to love that game because you like survival horrors. I love the fact that they did
my favorite of the whole series.
I
when
love
they
that
said they were remaking it, I went crazy. I'm not even going to lie.
Yeah, I like the fact that they did a stealth drop of, of a first person version of the game. And you are right, it did come out today. You just have to download it. I love that they did that.
Free, which is crazy.
Free.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's free. It's crazy. So I like that. But then, like I said, when I saw it, I was like, okay, this is good, but I was expecting more. But then same thing, when I get to Until Dawn Remaster, I'm like, I was expecting more to be done to that game than it just look. It looked like it was slight resolution bumps and a little bit of texture quality added to it. It just didn't feel like.
To be fair, the original looks so bloody good. Like, honestly, like if you go and you look at it, folks, and I'm not gassing anyone up here, especially PlayStation, because they're terrible to their customers. But honestly, like I said, and with that particular game, I miss saving everyone, but that one last bad choice, and I didn't get that freaking trophy. I was so angry at myself. And I couldn't like load it on older save. Everyone lived except for one freaking person. So I will play that game again.
Yeah.
It just depends on what Sony actually does. Because you're right. I looked at it and I was like, and I watched the show twice. And I'm like, it looks good, but I can't really tell how good.
Well, and like I said, and that's not a problem of the game, I don't think. It's a problem of what the expectations of what PlayStation is. It's like when I see PlayStation and I see something that's exclusive to PlayStation, or something that identified to be a third party or second party exclusive, I kind of just expect more. And gamers will, and we heard this from other PlayStation gamers, is shouldn't you expect more when it's something that's exclusive to your platform? You expect it to be up to the quality, maybe not a first party, but at least in line to what you were expecting that a first party studio would do. So in my mind, I was thinking that's what it was going to be. And that was just an assumption on my part. So I don't want to hold that against the show. That's why I still give it a 7. I know some people that were expecting so much, they gave it like 3, 4s, and 5s. And I'm like,
I saw some of that. I can't honestly give it a 5. Like, I couldn't give it a 5. Low. I can't.
So, and then Dragon's Dogma was really like, a lot of people are super excited for that game. I'm definitely going to be picking that one up. It showed really, really well. And as much as I don't want to play Death Stranding, and I probably will not play that game, I cannot take the fact away that game looks freaking incredible.
Well,
That
I mean,
game
the
looks
guy with the guitar
incredible.
thing looks like what the. I mean, it's Kojima, so he does weird things, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy. I don't want to buy in this game. Now,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna get any collector's editions or anything for that, but
it was literally 10 minutes of the showcase, and
it was.
Looking at it, I was like, yo, this is the best looking mid game. I mean, and not taking away from anybody that played it, because I know you played it, Boone, and you really enjoyed it. It's just something about the whole gameplay loop of that game that I just can't get by. But I will always acknowledge that the Decima engine is a fantastic engine. It makes games look incredible. I just don't like the structure of what that game is in order to want to play it. But I won't take away from the fact that game is gonna be one of the best looking games on that system. And when it comes to fidelity, they had it with that one. Now, how it plays as a game is a whole nother thing. It's going to be to each his own. But yeah, I gave it a 7 out of 10 because I think it was like a really, really good showing for them. I think they showed, and then a lot of these games are coming out early. Like we got games coming out in March. We got them coming out in April. There was no release date on Death Stranding. That was in 2025. But it looks like we have a pretty packed first beginning part of the year between Xbox and PlayStation, especially with Final Fantasy Rebirth coming out, that they're going to have a showcase on the 6th, like you talk about. But yeah, that was a good show. I really liked what I saw, and I think a lot of people liked what they saw too.
I mean, listen, like I said, I think a 7 is fair. If you think otherwise, and I see a lot of people in here like, boom, it's a 5. Listen, I get it. I took away some things that, I was a little bummed about. Like I said, Stellar Blade, I thought I was going to be better. It looked a little like the graphics weren't great. They weren't like standard Sony graphics you'd get from an exclusive. And I think that's what you're talking about, Forte, is that there's certain expectations that you get for exclusive content for Sony. That's usually tip of the spear, so to speak. And like, for instance, Rise of the Ronin, which we saw once before.
Yeah.
The first time we saw it, I was like, wow, I'm definitely buying this. Now, I'm still going to ultimately buy it, but it didn't look as good. It didn't show as well this evening. Hargeet, before I get to you, brother, let me thank a couple of people in here. We have El Monte, drops a very generous $5 super chat and says there was a lot of first-person games. Hope for the PlayStation fans don't get vertigo. Are you talking about the people were getting motion sickness from the first-person Indiana Jones? Yeah, I know. People are just ridiculous. RC Polygons drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says SOP, State of Play, is 5 out of 10 for me. With Xbox becoming the third biggest division in Microsoft, I do expect investors, higher-ups, to have a closer look over Xbox. They see profit, so Xbox could become more corporate. There is definitely some concerns. As a matter of fact, I'm sorry that he's not here, but Everborn Saga has thought the same thing. He's a little worried about, now that it's making a lot of money and it's making bank. Are we going to see a corporate Xbox? I don't think so. And I say that with confidence because obviously Phil Spencer is still, head of Microsoft Gaming. I would imagine that when he is done, and again, this is just an assumption, and I've said this publicly before, I think his successor will be Sarah Bond. I think that she is, she's moving up the ranks the same way Phil did. So it looks very similar that when he is done, whether that is 5 years from now or 10 years from now, he's going to take on the mantle. And she would be fantastic at it. So having those leaders make these important calls to keep it grounded, I'm actually not so worried about that.
But it is an interesting concern, though, and I hope they relay that. Like, look, there is a very enterprise focus of Microsoft, and you don't want that to happen on a consumer-facing gaming world, right? So it took Phil to come in and tell the top level management, in this case Satya,
Yep.
we can't play this the way you've been trying to do it. It's got to be about the gamer, the core gamer.
Yes.
That's the point. It's got to be the fun of the gaming. So as long as they keep that mindset to say, hey, this is consumer, it's not enterprise. This is not cloud focused on, selling to every business in the world. Okay. You have to look at it as consumer. It's got to be fun, engaging, right? As long as they keep that mindset, it'll be okay. But I fully fear that they could replace Phil with a corporate person, right? Or somebody that doesn't have the balls to stand up for it. That's a big problem, because even if you take who's the guy before Phil? Why am I forgetting his name? The guy that did the Xbox
Donnie
One.
D.
Donnie D.
Yes, even he's a gamer, okay, but he listened to the corporate message.
I don't really know about it. I mean,
he
was
listened
to the corporate message and said, okay, I'm going to do what you want me to do, which is the movies thing, tie it all together. We'll do that. And then forgot the point that you have to excite your gamer. You have to excite your gamer. That's the most important thing. And Phil understood that. That's what I'm afraid of. If the next person doesn't understand, and maybe if it's Sarah, hopefully that works, right? But if it isn't, then you have that problem. It is a big fear, and it is something hopefully Phil has made very clear. You cannot put somebody who doesn't understand the core gamer as the head of this thing, or it'll just fall off. It's not just about, like, you can have a Bobby Kotick come in and say all you do is like work your teams to the end, to their bones, to make sure that they deliver some stupid game, right? But that's not what you want, because that's not going to excite the gamer. How many people in the gaming world like Bobby Kotick? Not a lot.
No one.
So you don't want that if you want your brand to go forward. So it is a very good point, and I hope they understand that, right? Phil is a gamer to his core and knows that he has to excite the core gamer or it's going to fall apart. So I hope they understand that, but it is a very good point.
No, it's a fantastic point. Real quick, we got to thank Highlander 001, man. He does it again. He drops 5 Double Barrel Gaming memberships, and he's been doing this almost every show. Brother, that is crazy generous of you. I honestly can't thank you enough for the outstanding support. Spartan661 drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, not sure corporate Xbox is a great thing. No, it actually would be a terrible thing. The last thing that anyone wants is a corporate Xbox. They already have the corporate Windows and Azure. They don't need corporate Xbox. That would be disastrous, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd like it to go the other way around. Make the other things more fun for people to take a license from
you're not wrong.
And make Windows more fun.
Yeah, you're definitely not wrong. But listen, let's get your take on this, Hargeet. I mean, obviously, Forte broke it down in a really good way. He gave it a 7. I walked away giving it a 7. I did like what I saw from the Ken Levine game. Judas.
Yeah,
Judas looked really good. It looked very BioShocky, I guess, if that's a word. I loved BioShock 1, 2. I actually quite enjoyed 3. I'm looking forward to this, but this isn't coming out until 2025. So it was kind of like,
it's multiplat.
And it's multiplat. It says in development for PlayStation, but it's in development for Xbox and PC as well. It's already been announced. So I liked what I saw. Let's get your hot take on this, man. What are your thoughts?
So here's the problem, okay? I like some of the games you mentioned. So Judas, Dragon's Dogma 2, and to some level Rise of the Ronin stood out to me. I think they were good. The one you mentioned, V Rising, has been on PC for 2 years.
I didn't even know that. Yeah, I didn't even know that.
2 years. And by the way, it is exactly the thing you didn't want. It is building, crafting, material. So that is exactly what that game is. But either way, that game, is done pretty well on PC, and it's cool that they're bringing it to console. That's fine. But again, nothing in there screamed, this is why you need a PlayStation for 2024. That's why I don't like the showcase, right? Okay. And unfortunately, to me, I have to compare it to their competitors. And Xbox has come in and the TGAs and took it over, and then came in with a Dev Direct and showed me Indiana Jones, Avowed, and Hellblade. Yeah, right. On top of showing me Ara, which I'm actually more interested in than most of the things they showed me, right?
And besides a surprise Square game on top of that,
right? And on top of that, they showed me Visions of Mana, which is coming to Game Pass apparently, right? Like, okay, how is that being compared to this? How is that going to tell me that you need to be on PlayStation? I'm not seeing it, and that to me is their big fail here. They did not do anything to say, "Yo, this is your Spider-Man for the year." They haven't shown me. Now maybe they have something, right? We know Final Fantasy VII is coming, but I got to be honest, with the relationship changing with Square, I think that's coming to Xbox at some point. It's definitely going to come to PC at some point. So I don't care. It's not something that's going to be on PlayStation forever. It's just not. So I don't like nothing there showed me a reason to be on PlayStation, right? This is a PlayStation state of play. This is my problem with it. If you took it as a Keeley show, you're right. I'd probably give it an 8 because I like some of those games, right? Because like just the few games that I saw, I'm like, yeah, this is pretty cool. Even though Death Stranding was crap to me, I couldn't even play the game. It was so boring. I'm like, what is this? Now, some people loved it. A lot of people did love it, and fair enough, right? But you have to get to 25 hours and it's good. Oh, well, I don't want to spend 25 hours before the game is good. So like, so I'm just watching this and I'm like, okay, all I'm seeing is cutscene. Okay, and this is like the typical PlayStation playbook, right? 10 minutes of gameplay, 50 minutes of cutscene. I'm like, I don't care. Just let me play the game, right? So this is just not what I like, right? So for the few games that look good, they're mostly multi-plats. And for the few that were theirs, Stellar Blade, again, it looks like Nier Automata. Okay, cool. That wasn't a game that I was like enthralled with.
Oh, Hargy. I literally wrote that on my list the moment I saw that. You and I,
right? It's like
exactly
okay.
Nier Automata. Yes,
and it has that same cringy dialogue, and I'm like,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
Okay,
a very 360-esque.
Yeah, and again, graphics aren't the thing that kill me. It's usually is the core gameplay something I'm going to enjoy. And Nier Automata was okay. It had a good enough game loop. The story was like, huh? And I'm sure this story is gonna be like, meh. And like, so it doesn't pull me in, right? Now I don't know if that's a permanent exclusive or not. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't care, right? But it just doesn't. It's not something that says, oh, you need to be on PlayStation. This is not God of War. It's just not. It's not Ghost of Tsushima. It's nothing at that level, right? So it's like, okay, cool. Rise of the Ronin, I've been interested in for the whole time. And it looks basically like what I expect. It's a Ghost of Tsushima minor, right? It's not Ghost of Tsushima level, but there's something that's close to that. It's kind of like the Wolong-ish kind of game, and okay, that's kind of cool with a little Ghost of Tsushima twist into it. It's like that's pretty cool. Again, is it something that I'm gonna be like, oh my god, you have to be on PlayStation?
No.
This is my problem, right? And again, I don't even know if that is a permanent exclusive since it's a Koei Tecmo game, right? So maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. I just don't know what they've done there, right? It's being published by PlayStation, right? Maybe it is a permanent. Maybe they bought the IP. I don't know, but I haven't heard anything, so I don't know, right?
Right.
They usually have these like, hey, we'll publish it for you, therefore it'll be 2-year exclusive, right? And then suddenly it turns out it's not really exclusive and it shows up on other platforms. Okay, cool. So again, I don't know where that is, but it's not enough for me to say that is your 2024. It's not Spider-Man. It's just not, right? So what are you showcasing to me to say buy a PS5 this year because this is what you get to play? You can look at the back catalog. Maybe that's cool, but there's just nothing pulling me to the PlayStation. In the opposite side of this, you got Nintendo coming out with a new console. Yep. You think they're going to come out with one game? They're going to come out with 10 games.
No, yeah, probably.
Right?
And Nick dropped a major bomb on Mav show on Friday, and of course, shout out to Special Nick of the Xbox era. He said
verbatim. He had this thing nailed
he
verbatim.
did. And also take this. I mean, he's right more than he's wrong, folks. He's saying, and he said on Mav's show, and I'm surprised no one really picked this up, that next week is supposed to be the Nintendo Direct. Now, is it the console Nintendo Direct? If it is,
I hope it is, dude. That is going to create so much buzz, right? And they're going to announce a whole bunch of launch titles.
I think there's at least 4 of them that we know of. And the rumor is, again, if you're a Nintendo freak like me, and I'm buying 3, one for me, one for Mrs. Boone, and I'm buying one for Tyler. So, I mean, he's getting it first before either of us do it.
Oh,
F-Zero is supposed to be, F-Zero is supposed to launch. A new 3D Mario, which, of course, why wouldn't it? Metroid Prime 4, which has been in development, which is going to be amazing. And there's one other one that's kind of like no one really knows, but it's going to be a Nintendo first party. That makes perfect sense.
So you've got all that buzz on that side, right? And then Xbox, 2 showcases in a row. One was the TGAs.
They killed it.
And they brought it. They got Blade coming, yo. And then they brought the Dev Direct and said, yo, we're dropping Indiana Jones this year.
Yeah.
On top of Hellblade, on top of Avowed, on top of Visions of Mana, right? Like, well, granted, Visions of Mana is everywhere, but it's in the Game Pass day and date. That's gonna make it a goddamn Xbox game, whether you like it or not. And this is just the way it is, right? And there's just so much more enthusiasm you have on the other side versus what PlayStation is doing. And so to me, it reflects, and that's why I rate this a 4.
Okay.
Because it does nothing.
Okay, strong. I mean, listen, but your opinion, you have a stout opinion, but you know something that's interesting. I want you to elaborate on this point.
Yep.
Normally, I'm an older man, obviously, but I keep my ear to the socials, as the kids like to say. And one of the things I did not see, even from some of the diehard Sony fans, were out there hyping up this show, Hargeet. And yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that. I mean,
Major fun.
I'll put it to you this way: what's interesting is, like I said, I'm confident that my 7 is going to stand. Right? I gave it a 7. It's fine. Right? There was some stuff for me, maybe not for everyone. Okay, I hear you. I'm not going to fight with you. But here is where we get to an interesting point in conversation. You started it, Hargeet. I kind of want to finish it. The end of the year, the GTAs, Xbox stole the show. Let's call a spade a spade. They literally took over the GTAs. That's a fact. They didn't win anything hardly, but you know what? They
won the same amount as Nintendo, and PlayStation won 0.
Yeah, 0. Well, PlayStation got nothing. Yeah, it's true. They got nothing. But okay, so you're coming off of a TGA big giant W. They open up the year with an unbelievable direct, start to finish, tip of the spear, incredible. And at the end, we get a 5th game in Visions of Mana, which again, it's a third-party game, but it's the first Mana game to come to Xbox. It's a big deal. Now you have Sony puts out this show, and there's some people in here that are giving it 5, some people are giving it 2. Jonathan Cox gives it a 6. So folks, throw your numbers in here, and we'll read them as we continue this. And then if Nintendo has the show that you just said, that I just talked about, that kind of puts Sony sandwiched in the middle with a very what may be considered a weak, mediocre type of show when the other 2 platforms are showing their guns.
Yep. They're giving you reasons to go to that platform. That's the thing, right?
Yep.
So, if Nintendo is going to drop with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games, right? Come on. That thing it's already going to generate hype for the majority of the year. And you know what's going to come with it. Pokemon. You're going to have a Pokemon. There's going to be a Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's going to be a Mario. They're due for a Mario Kart. They're due for Metroid Prime. As you said, Metroid Prime 4 is most likely going to come with it.
Yeah.
There's the potential to upgrade all the games they've already had on Switch. Just think about that, right? You could just get frame boosts.
And I'm pretty confident on the F-Zero one as well. I'm pretty confident. Yeah.
So, and then they're due for a Smash. They haven't had that in a few years, right? They haven't an update for that. So they're due for a Smash. There's just so much potential for them to just literally smash this year with their games. That's going to happen. Xbox has an answer for a lot of that. What's PlayStation's answer? And this has been my thing. Like that showcase, it didn't even have bloody Final Fantasy, which should have been the final thing they showed. Final Fantasy VII is a big game that you do actually have. Granted, it will probably end up somewhere else eventually, right? But at least that one would have been a nice showstopper, right? But that's not what they showed. So this show just kind of bummed me out as far as like PlayStation trying to generate enthusiasm. And I like that just seems now look, it's a brand that everybody recognizes. It'll probably still sell umpteen million consoles no matter what, right? But at some point, you're gonna find people are saying, well, that Nintendo looks good.
Yeah.
Hey, that Xbox has got these interesting games now. Maybe I should go pick one up. Like, and if the sales keep continuing, is it not like the selling? I mean, like the $230 or $250 for a Series S, right? And this holiday, they're gonna have Call of Duty bundled with an Xbox. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it.
Yeah, they sure are.
Call of Duty bundled with an Xbox. It'll be both consoles, and you'll have a Call of Duty for like $250 with a Series S, right? I'm just saying, at some point, that's going to drive sales the other way, because they're going to have advertising saying, play Indiana Jones this holiday, play Avowed this holiday, play Hellblade this holiday, play Call of Duty this holiday, play Flight Simulator this holiday, play whatever else, right? We don't know the entire slate. On an Xbox for $250 with Call of Duty. Boom. Right? Like, what's their answer? And that's what I'm worried about, right? Maybe they have a showcase. Maybe they come up with cool stuff. But what I'm seeing here from like comparison of Microsoft, who said, this is our year. Here's what we're putting out. We haven't talked about ABK. We'll get back to you on that, right? So we have that to come, right? So we already know for a majority of the year, this is what we're going to get. What's PlayStation putting out? And if next week Nintendo comes out and says, here's what we're doing this year.
Yep.
Here's the new Nintendo Switch. Here are the 15 games we're coming along with it. Well, what's their answer? Right? And Nintendo's games are going to sell. That's just the way it is, right? And that console is going to be sold out immediately. This is just like there's no enthusiasm. That's my problem. Now, don't even have to take my word for it. It turns out MBG and Lucas, I'm not trying to like call them out as bad people. Lucas and MBG and Dreamcast guy were livid with this. They did not like the showcase, right? Because again, it didn't do that. Like, here's the moment that makes it so cool to be on PlayStation, right? All you had was Death Stranding showcasing the Decima engine. But again, a lot of people, that's just not going to cut it, because we tried Death Stranding and we're like, okay, I don't want to play FedEx, simulator. I'm good. So, right. And for some people who love it, that's great. But that game did not set the world on fire. It just didn't. Right. So that was your headliner. Great. I'm just not sure that was going to be the thing that pulls people in. Right. That's what I saw with it. Again, to your point, if I took PlayStation out of it and said, hey, this is just a showcase of games, I liked a couple of games I saw. I'd give it a 7 or 8. I would. Like Dragon's Dogma 2 looks fantastic. I'm happy to play that, but I can play it on PC or Xbox. Yeah. So that's kind of where I am. Unfortunately, this just did nothing for me as far as PlayStation. And the reason I'm sad, I don't want PlayStation to just give up. I want them to fight. Like, give us something back. Like, fight back. And maybe it just takes a couple of years for them to get back to normal, but this just ain't cutting it. And in a couple of years, they're going to start to feel like the Xbox One gen. And that's just not good for anybody, right? Because if Xbox does not have to compete, you do get corporate Xbox, because they're not going to give a damn. They're not going to invest the same way. And that's not what I want. If Nintendo doesn't come in and start competing with them, and everybody thinks of Nintendo in its own lane, right? If Xbox is the only one, it's just not good. I've seen Microsoft, when they don't have to compete, they don't spend money. They don't have to. And that's not what I want. I want them to spend money. I want them to invest. I want them to make something I want. I want them to keep making my gaming better. Give me more value. But that doesn't happen if PlayStation does this constantly. So I'm not happy with this. They need to compete. They need to push. They're not. That's just not good. Where are their games?
No, I mean, it's because a lot of people are like, where's Concord? Right. Where's an update to some of the stuff? I mean, like, I know there were some people, there were some talk about, we're definitely getting a trailer for Ghost of Tsushima 2. They have to have that. Ben Studio, we there was rumors that their game was going to be there, right? Like,
one of them, please. I don't care if it comes 3 years later. Just show me something. Like, what are you doing about anything?
Yeah,
I'm with you on that.
It's fair. It's fair. Folks, listen, I was checking on YouTube, and the footage, we're seeing the footage run great here. Apparently, YouTube is kind of taking a shit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just stop the footage until I can figure out what the H is happening, and just we're just going to be on the screen. And obviously, I'm going to be playing this in the next day or two. So trust me, there's plenty. I have hours and hours of Suicide Squad footage. So let me just change that. But while I get ready to change that, Kay Asante, you have notes. And when Kay Asante has notes, usually they're very detailed thoughts. opinions,
So-
emotions. What do you got
so-
for us?
I'll tell you, this time my notes were pretty concise, beat for beat, and I think you're gonna notice a pattern here with the rest of the panel that I've expertly listened to today. Helldivers 2 is where they started. It looked okay, right? I was a Helldivers fan. I played Helldivers on my Vita. I
It
played
did look
Helldivers on my
good.
PS3. It
Yeah.
looked good. It looks like it'll be a game that you'll play with buddies. It'll be fun. It won't be enthralling beyond that. It'll be something you play with buddies and it'll be fun because, that's what it looks like to me. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's PlayStation engrossing as far as storytelling or whatever. So far, it just looked like something you can, have fun with people in, which is cool, right? Stella Blade, aka Stella Yams, looked like Near Automata. I literally wrote that.
Nice.
Stella Yams, baby.
I mean, come on. I'm going to be scandalous. I'm usually not a scandalous type of individual. I usually don't like to do that, but I'm going to do that. Anybody that sees this game and says, "Oh my God, that looks great, gameplay," you just talk about them yams, bro. Calm down. Calm down. Right?
Yams.
It's all about them yams.
All
The
about those
Stella
yams.
the
He ain't
yams.
lying.
The gameplay is PS3, it's 360, but the look of it is amazing. And I'm not just talking about the yams. I'm talking about the graphics, the quality, the fidelity. It's on display, right? It's almost like it's so much on display that they forgot about the gameplay after, and that's a little bit more basic than the graphics are. But yes, Stella Yams was out there. The yams was on display. Okay, I'll give you that. But like Hargeet said, it's exactly like Neo. That's the first thing I thought. It looks like Neo Automata a little bit graphically. It also sounds like Neo Automata a lot.
It does.
In the way that they're talking. I mean, a lot. The way they interact with each other. So there was that. Sonic X Shadow Generations looked decent. Everborn Saga probably had a heart attack when he saw it. It is what it is. He loved that game, I'm sure. And Sonic Generations was a good game when it came out. So a good one to remake. Good for you guys, I'm sure.
And they added Shadow. I mean, obviously it's multi-plat as well, so it's coming to everything. Yeah. And then Zenless Zone Zero, not really my thing, but if you like the Yo-Yo verse, I'm sure you'll dig it. It's not really my stuff. Foam Stars, my only one word in this list that I wrote, trash. I'm moving on. Dave the Diver, I mean, there's
game.
a reason why they added that to PlayStation Plus, because I mean, folks, listen, let's call a spade a spade. If Sony can get money out of people, they will. They did. You know what's going to happen with this game? What was the car game that launched that was like
same thing in the beginning? Yes.
Yeah, Fortnite meets Twisted Metal.
Yeah, and then it came out, and then it just disappeared like a week later.
Yeah.
At first was going to be for sale, and then they put it on PlayStation Plus, and then it disappeared. Yes, I get the same vibe that from Foam Stars. We shall see. Dave the Diver, great game. I beat it last year on PC. If you haven't played it, you should play it. It's a pretty awesome game. It really is. It's quite fun. It's not an indie title, unbeknownst to Mr. Keeley, but that's neither here nor there. V Rising. Interesting looking game. I bought it on Steam after seeing the trailer because it's there and I can play it on my handheld. So there's that. Silent Hill looked good. I won't play it because that's not really my kind of game. Like Silent Hill as a franchise kind of happened during the time when I was really PC focused. So I didn't really get into that IP. If this is really good and people talk about it a lot, maybe I'll try it, but it was all right, And that was Silent Hill, the short message. Silent Hill 2 looked like RE remake fanfic. It looked like it really was like, hey, we used RE4 remake as our barometer, Bloober team did, and kind of made one in that vein, which it's kind of, I don't know. I would say that people who love Silent Hill might be a little upset about that. That's kind of like if Indiana Jones came out and they played an Uncharted like, you know what I mean? Rather than striking its own terms, right? Okay. It kind of felt like it was copying our, again, it's not my franchise, so I don't have as much love for it as somebody else does. I'm sure people will play it and they'll really love it. Like it didn't really, it looked like fanfic to me for some reason. Judas looked great. Art style, super stylized, but somehow very detailed in the mouth movements. The animation looked like, wow, epic. Like it just looked super great, right? On that note, they say built for PlayStation. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a trailer somewhere where it's built for Switch 2. It's built for everything. is going to come
Yeah.
to everything.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
is.
they just decided to say built for PlayStation. Xbox will say built for Xbox. Switch 2 will say built for Switch 2. It's coming everywhere. So there's that, right? Metroid Awakening look like 4A Games attempt at Half-Life Alyx. I hope it
Yeah,
comes
it
to other
did.
platforms.
Yeah.
And I've played Half-Life Alyx. I think it's great. This looked like they were harking in that direction.
Mhm.
We shall see. You know, I hope it comes to other platforms. It is what it is. And why do I hope it comes to other platforms? Let's put a pin in that one. I'll come back to that in a minute. Because right after that, they showed Legendary Tales, which has great gameplay, but graphics look terrible. Like, why would you show that on a State of Play?
It did.
Like,
It looked awful.
The gameplay was excellent. Oh, you're doing all this cool stuff. Like, and if you're a VR gamer, you know how that's about. It's fun. There's a lot of movement. But graphically, it did not show out at all. I'm surprised they even put that on the screen. It looks like it still needed time in the oven. Anyway, Dragon's Dogma 2 showed really well. Really enjoyed what I saw.
Another hit for Capcom. They
Yes.
don't miss, man. They just don't miss.
Absolutely.
So hey, just FYI, that Metro game is actually coming to everything. It's coming to Steam VR. Metro,
so there you go. Excellent. So I'm happy now. That's excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
Rise of the Ronin. It looked great gameplay wise, but graphically, it didn't impress me as the first time.
Can I ask you? And again, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
Did it look like the graphics were downgraded from the original showing?
So the first time we saw Rise of the Ronin, we saw it, I think, alongside the other one. I forget the name of it right now. That it already came out. Same team. Come on.
The Koei Tecmo game.
Yeah, same team. Like same Team Ninja. You know, they
yeah. Wolong was the other one.
Wolong. There you go.
Yes, thank you.
When they were both shown off, it looked like PlayStation got the better deal. It looked like Wolong wasn't as good as the Ronin, at least graphically. But now it looks like it's exactly the same game, graphically anyway. It looks like they used the same engine. But for some reason, when I first saw Wolong compared to Rise of the Ronin looked just so much more elevated and now it doesn't. Now it just looks like it's the same engine, different game, right? Which from a gameplay perspective, it looks great. You know, I'm looking forward to trying it out. I love the team that makes it. So yeah, I'm there, but I'm surprised. I expected it to look better. It just, I'm not sure. Until Dawn, I'll be honest, that kind of disappointed me. Like when I first saw Until Dawn, it was the best looking PlayStation game out. It was amazing. Hayden Panettieri's face was basically like it was like her. It looked just like her, like amazing. I looked at it now, and it still looks like the PS4 game. I expected an elevated, and I needed a new benchmark, and it looks exactly like the old one. I mean, maybe my mind is playing tricks on me. If you play the old one, you realize, it doesn't look as good, but it didn't really look like wow. Like Stellar Blade gave me more wow than that did. It just did. I don't know. So, like you, Boom, I played the first one. I enjoyed the first one. If they don't do a $10 upgrade fee, that would be really, really sad. That'd be messed up.
That would be. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying $70 remake. I'm just not. Yeah.
All right. So now I have a few more. Kojima, right? Death Stranding 2 on the beach. What I wrote here, literally, I wrote Kojima does it again. I didn't think he'd get me to scratch my head as much as he did in Death Stranding 1, but man, he did it again. What I will say though is the game looks great, and it looks like they took the criticism to heart. Instead of going, oh wait for season 3, it'll look great. They show you season 3 from jump, right? You got some action going on. It looks fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, probably the rest of it will still be, FedEx Simulator, but what they showed
at least it appears that there were more than poo guns.
Exactly. And by the way, I too spent about 15 hours in that game, 20 hours in that game. I still want to go back and play it because it's meditative, right? Like when you start getting used to the traversal, it's meditative. I really enjoyed my time with it. It was a unique experience, right? So I think that was good, right? Now, and then of course, to close the show out, they announced Kojima's new IP that he's never done before, called Aloy Machinery, aka Metal Gear. So I'm looking forward to it. It's good. Like for me, and here's where I double back with all of my panel members. For me, in a bubble, in isolation, that was a 7.5. There are some goods there, some interesting things that I'm looking forward to. Some of them went, wow, okay, that's good. Others really weren't my bag. But as a PlayStation show, yeah, this is a 5. It sucks. Like there's nothing. If you are a PlayStation main, or better yet, if you're a PlayStation main, you're having a good time. You're fine. If you're a person with multiple consoles like me, looking for a reason to wipe the dust off since I finished playing Spider-Man 2, none of these gave me that, right? You get a drip here, a drip there, but nothing really like, oh, wow, I have new games to play. It really didn't do that because most of the multiplats will either come to Game Pass and I'll play them there, or I'll play them on PC, or they're just other options for me. So me personally as a gamer, I didn't really think this show was amazing from a PlayStation perspective. As a general, showing games, as Hargeet says, yeah, I saw some that I like in there, some that I might pick up day one. The last thing I will say, Hargeet, one thing that before let's put this out there before people start writing the nasty grams. Visions of Mana has been corrected as not coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, they did.
Tweeted it.
Yeah.
It this morning.
I literally,
Cool.
I literally just saw.
I said apparently, like I don't know if it is or
because they found the hack in the website, right? And it shows you. Usually, you read the metadata and it tells you what's coming and this and that. It had Visions of Mana in the metadata. They said that was a mistake. It shouldn't. It was a mistake.
Yeah.
But yes, by and large, long story short, 5 out of 10. PlayStation show, 7.5 I'd say, as far as a general show.
I mean that's fair criticism. Like I said, I'm sticking with my 7. There were some things that got me excited. Some things I didn't expect to move me. Foam Stars being one of them. That's gonna come and go so quickly. It's gonna and shout out to a couple of people in the chat. It was something destructive. Oh, there it is. L Paul Destruction All Stars. We also had quite a few other people. Ice Cold threw that in there. There was Prince Green as well. Justy Spud, the Green Goblin also threw it in. So thank you so much for the help because I couldn't remember. I'm not gonna lie. I played it when it first released and I kind of had fun with it, but after like an hour I was like, yeah, I'm kind of driving around doing the same thing. I'd rather this be a Twisted Metal. And still, again, it's weird that they have such magnificent incredible legacy IP and they're just doing nothing with it. And I mean, listen, folks, the Jim Ryan era hurt PlayStation in a big way. I don't know how many years it's going to take them to recover, but I think this show it pretty much dictates what they're going to do in 2024. I don't even know if we're getting any first party that's not a remake, and that's concerning. And I think a lot of it has to do. But yes, sir.
No. Please finish. You said.
No, I'm saying I think it has a lot to do with the fact that Jim Ryan changed direction. They went from dedicating their studios to making these incredible first-party, single-player, story-driven, narrative-focused games to, hey, we got to chase a trend because we're losing to Sea of Thieves, we're losing to Grounded, we're losing to these gas games. And then obviously when the gas games were shown, it was 2 of the most terrible PlayStation shows of the platform's history last year. Like for instance, for me, the biggest disappointment was Jade Raymond. Like she's a single player storyteller. Like when they picked up her studio, I'm like, oh my God, she's gonna tell a PlayStation single player story. And we got a rip off of Payday. That game's gonna fail. I'm sorry. I like Jade Raymond a lot, but that game is gonna fail.
So
and
boom.
This
I will say,
yeah.
One thing I would interject is, and all at least agree that of all the shows, this was the host here. He did a good job. He didn't outstay his welcome. You didn't. Every time
host?
Jim Ryan, every time Jim Ryan's on the screen, he's smarmy. Well, he's Dutch. Dutch people are like 8 foot, like they are trees. Yeah, he's Dutch. And I can say that because my wife is Dutch. I've lived in the Netherlands my whole life, so I know the Dutch. They are trees. So he's a tall dude. I will say, soft spoken, didn't outstay his welcome. I liked the energy. It was nice. I hope they use him more. Why have they not named him the new president? Okay, let's move on.
Because the new president's going to be from Japan, brother. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be a European president. It's not going to be an American president. They're going to go back to their roots. They're going to hire and acknowledge a Japanese businessman to take over for SIE moving forward. That's my feeling. Again, I just think that Jim Ryan, he did what he did. He made him a lot of money up front. On the back end, he didn't do so well. And I think that if they had confidence in Herman Holtz, they would have made him the interim president. They did not.
Yeah, they should have, in my opinion.
Yeah, they should have, sure, but they didn't because they have no confidence, and they're in a bit of a tailspin. Again, I mean, the only thing I can say, folks, is if you thought it was a 2 out of 10, King David gave it a 3. Hargeet gave it a 4. Forte and I gave it a 7. And I'm confident with a 7 because there were some things that I liked there, and obviously the way it was broken down by Keasante is perfect. Obviously, if, as a PlayStation show, I can see where the 5 happens because when you say a PlayStation show, you're expecting PlayStation games, first-party games to show to get you excited to turn. Because I haven't turned on my console since Spider-Man 2. I haven't beaten it thoroughly yet. I'm like halfway through. But I'm like I said, I play so many things now that it's hard to kind of just get stuck. Now, what do you call it? Suicide Squad's got claws in me, and now I'm screwed because I'm not touching anything else. But I see the scores in here. Mr. Xbox gave it a 7. Abdel's gave it a 114 gave it a 7. We have here OC Game Stam Mac gave it a 5. I saw some 2s here. Let me go see how far I can go back and see what anyone. Folks, real quick, before we move on to the big topic, and that's the financials. Throw your scores in here so I can read them out on the air. Okay, so we have here Big Mad Mo gave it a 6. Jean Mac Lewis 6. Curry Kamos between 6 and 7. That's I think is fair. Tony Brown gave it a 4. Stitch gave it a 4. Nino Vistic gave it a 4. The Black Knight gave it a 6. Spittin 13 gave it a 7. Let's see what else we got here. Jax 82 gave it a 6. So I mean, it's kind of wide all over the place, but it's hovering with that 5-6 seems to be like the average. Listen, I can't argue with you folks. Again, for me, I got very excited for the Silent Hill stuff. Until Dawn looked. I'm very excited. I will play through that again. I really, really enjoyed the original on PlayStation 4. I will not buy it at full boat. I refuse to do that. If there's a $10 upgrade fee because I have it digitally, awesome. If I don't have, if I have to spend full boat, then I'm just gonna wait until like Black Friday when it's $30, and maybe then I'll buy it. I'd rather spend 10, but I do like the game. There were some things in there, a lot of third-party stuff. I think people were looking for that one, Ghost of Tsushima, like
the anchor.
The anchor. That's a great way to put it. And it wasn't there. I mean, look, the way I think this show is going to be continued to be judged. Now, I haven't watched any of the gaming media to see, like, the IGNs, they're going to suck the taint. So they're going to give it a 10 out of 10 probably, but it's fine. I'm interested to see because I think, was it you, Hargeet, that said that, if you're comparing it to, at the shows that Xbox had to what they had, they're clearly deficient, Sony right now versus what Xbox is putting out.
Yeah.
So,
now look, maybe like we have this PS5 Pro potential, which hopefully I guess is true. I don't know if it is or isn't, but if that's happening, maybe later in the year, they do have a showcase. They bring out the PS5 Pro, and they do have a slate of awesome games that they can showcase. Fair enough, right?
Right.
Until I see that, though, this is all I've got, and this is just not. It's not good. They need to have something, right? Even if it's just one snippet of a game that's coming 2 years from now.
Yep.
You at least show that, so you have something to create enthusiasm. right? Like anything. What's Naughty Dog up to? Have they done anything that we can see? It's except for the Last of Us 2 Part 2 remake, remaster,
maybe
remodel
3 they're
edition,
working on.
whatever.
I think. I know the God of War 2018 director is supposedly working on a space game.
Yeah.
That's a third-person action adventure. We haven't seen anything. We've only heard that in rumors.
Or
I
maybe
mean,
what Fend is working on, or like everybody was saying, Concord. Concord was supposed to come out this year, was not?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Can we see something about that? Like, what is that game?
Yeah, no, it's true. It's
I kind of think we got to go back and think about 2020, 2021 when everybody was talking about how Xbox is releasing a console without any first party, and we tried to tell people, it's like, listen, man, Xbox didn't prepare for COVID as good as other people did. Sony had a bunch of games that released because they had a lot of stuff in development that happened to come out right around that time where it didn't look like they had any development pipeline issues when it came to that. I think you're starting to see that now. You've been seeing it for the last couple of years. A lot of the stuff that they already had in development was very, very development when 2020 happened. And I think you're starting to really see that year gap that's happened where a lot of stuff just got pushed back. Now, of course, they're not going to come out and talk about it because a lot of that stuff they haven't even announced yet. But I kind of think 2024 was like maybe the middle of that, and this will be the end of it when it comes to the end of this year. So I really wouldn't expect to see a lot of first-party PlayStation games starting to be like truly releasing until early 2025 at the earliest, because it's like no reason for them not to talk about stuff that they know is right on the horizon of releasing outside of all the first party deals. But I also think that's another reason why they did so many first party and second party and third party deals over the course of these last couple of years.
They didn't have anything.
It's because they didn't have anything ready.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about, we was like, listen, man, they were affected just like everybody else. It just didn't look like it because they were fortunate in all the games they had in development for the PlayStation 5 before everything happened. So I think we're in the midst of that, not trying to get them a pass or anything on it, but this is where all that year catches up to them, or that 2 years catches up to them right now, where the only game that you had released from a first party standpoint for the most part was Spider-Man in 2023, and then God of War the year before that, and some other titles and stuff. So let's hope that they have some stuff that's going to release. I think they're really, really doubling down on games like Final Fantasy that's going to kind of carry them through the first quarter of this year. I'm really looking forward to see what's going to happen during the middle part of the year. But I will tell you, by June, if you don't see anything from them on a first party input, you're going to be kind of looking at another 2023.
Yep.
And then it's gonna finally pick up with them in 2025 once they get their development pipeline, because all of these studios are making something, but they're not showing it. And it's not like they're not doing something. So there is something there. They're just not ready to show it at this point, and it's just unfortunate because they're just behind.
I'll say this before I read the super chats, and folks, take this to the bank. If their June show is this with different games,
it's a problem.
The giant F is coming out. The fail.
Yeah.
You failed your gamers. They cannot have a fourth. Again, I give it a 7. I gave the other ones terrible. The other 2 shows last year were freaking awful. Nothing about them were anything any PlayStation gamer wanted. This had some. If their June show, which is the big one, which is the one that we're all looking for, the Year of Dreams Part 2, if it's this, they're in trouble. They're in a pickle. But listen, real quick, Sir X-Men drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, Ronin looks like Tenchu and Ninja Gaiden to me. Yeah, I definitely got the Tenchu feel because of the grappling hook. Gamer by Choice drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, saw direct on PlayStation channel. I saw mostly L's in the chat. And you're not wrong. Scott Gamer Dude drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, hello, Boom and panel. So I watched your footage and Mav stream of Suicide Squad, and I bought the game. Looking forward to playing it. When is it officially releasing? that would be Friday. It's officially releasing. Early access, I believe, was I started playing on Monday, not Tuesday, because whether you guys know it or didn't, I had my chauffeur come pick me up, take me to the jet. I flew out to to the other side of the world and started playing. Flew back just in time for the show. It was great. I don't really have a driver. I'm just kidding, but I did switch countries to get early access because I paid for it and I wanted it even earlier. And damn it, I'm having so much fun with it. John Wolf, who's been a channel member for 5 months, says this, folks. I give the show a 7.5 out of 10, and I enjoyed it. This show had PS2 vibes, and real PlayStation fans will understand what I mean, not the casual fan. Yeah, it definitely gave me some PlayStation 2 vibes as well.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Rocket Scientist, I got your name right, dude. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Where is the Baby Steps PS5 Collector's Edition with Silly Putty for $899.99? Oh, wait. We'll wait for the PS Pro for that 8K version for PlayStation VR 3. The slander. I love it. Yeah, no baby steps. Freddie
Baby
Fox,
step.
generous friend of the program, drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, John Linneman said DS2 looked better than Hellblade 2. John, come on. I mean, there's no reason for that. Yeah. Look, we already know that PlayStation is using Hellblade's graphical prowess as a benchmark. They even said Insomniac already said that that's what they're going to use. They're not using the Decima engine. Looks phenomenal. Let's call a spade, but come on, he's such a pony. He really is. I try to give him the benefit of the doubt, but this is the kind of stuff that we see. He gets upset when people come after him. Why say that? Why do you have to compare? Can't you just say, what did I say? Oh, I can't freaking look phenomenal. I said that. Did I say, did it look better? I don't have to say that. He didn't have to say it. He knows better, but this is why he gets himself in trouble, because he does stupid shit like this, and he wonders why people come after him, and he blocks everybody.
Quick question. Just a quick question for me.
Sure.
I don't know if this is known. Do we know that Mario versus Donkey Kong is coming out on February
14th?
Yeah,
16th.
February 14th.
Oh, it's the 16th. Yeah, it's right after Valentine's Day. Yes, I have 2 copies paid for, by the way.
And do we know that the demo is out right now?
Whoa. Are you kidding
Hey
me?
now.
I did not know that.
Right
Wow.
now. I'm literally going to find my abacus. Excuse me.
Go do your thing, brother. We'll come to you in a hot second. OG GameStar Mac. Now, Gangsta Mac. GameStar Mac. I believe that's how it is. OG, welcome to the program, sir. Thank you, man. He drops a very generous $20. And here it is. It's pronounced OG GameStar Mac. Gotcha, brother. You have one of the best Xbox podcasts right now. Keep up. That's very kind of you. As much as I appreciate the generosity, and now, of course, we're going to turn these monies around, and we put them back into the community, because it's something that Mrs. Boom and I really enjoy doing. And this year, some of the people that won were really in need, and when you hear those stories, and it makes us feel 10 times greater that we can do this, and we obviously do this because people are so generous here. So, brother, thank you so much for the generosity, and more importantly, thank you for the very kind words. Hargeet, I'm going to you first, brother. I got some staggering stats here.
Before that, did you get Spartan 661? I think he has one for Death Stranding there.
I could have sworn I did. Let me see. Where is it? Oh, yeah. See, I'm sorry. I went right over him. Crazy. Spartan 661. My apologies, kind sir. He drops an additional $5 super chat and says, it seems that Death Stranding is going to be Sony's version of Metal Gear. Is it me, or is it something that everyone can see? Bootleg Metal MG walking sim. I mean, it's Kojima, right? It is really wacky. Like, some of the Metal Gears are really wacky. I look, maybe. I'm hoping that at some point someone, and I don't care, I would rather it be everywhere, but even if it was a PlayStation exclusive, somebody, for the love of Joe, remake Metal Gear Solid 1 and give it the love and care of Resident Evil 2. Like what Capcom did with that, that's one of my favorite games of all time. 98 Resident Evil 2, number 1 from me. 2019 Resident Evil 2, number 2. My favorite game of all time and my favorite franchise of all time. I would love to see that kind of tenacity be done for Metal Gear 1. Metal Gear Solid is just god tier amazing. And I would love to see a remake of that. But that's an interesting theory. I would imagine maybe. I mean they're going forth with it, and it's getting very Kojima-ish. So
well, after Death Stranding 2, he is making a whatever what they call it, a stealth espionage game.
It is. It's almost.
I call it Aloy Machinery, which is two synonyms for Metal Gear.
Yeah. So if that you might have to wait for that, because I think Death Stranding is its own thing. I don't think it's going to change much. Like I said, I didn't think I was going to like it.
That other one might be. And by the way, that's probably going to be his last game, right? The guy's 60 years old.
Yeah, he's getting up there.
That game is going to come out in the 2030s.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
he is 60 years old.
Being realistic.
Kojima don't crack. That's amazing.
Wow. Yeah, he's 60 years old.
He looks good for 60.
He looks good.
Yeah. Death Stranding 2 is 2025 next year, which is 6 years from Death Stranding 1. So I'm just saying, you're looking at least 6 years from then. That's 31, right? And then in the middle of that, they have OD to make. Just saying.
Yeah. No, it's
so that's coming out 2030s, and I mean he'll be pretty old. 65,
he'll be 70 at that point. He'll be 70 years old.
So at some point you just got to say, all right, I'm done. Bye bye.
I want to retire.
So.
Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, we are at $1:20 into the show. We got about 45 minutes, give or take, left. We're going to get into the numbers because, look, I want this to be clear. I don't cap for trillion-dollar companies because I'm not making money on this. Understand? So that's why we're going to read you the numbers. They're impressive as hell. They are the most Xbox as a platform has ever made. And that's because of ABK. We knew this was happening. This is going to be. I can't wait to see a year under their belt when they have a full year of ABK. When they have a console box with a Call of Duty logo on it and it's flying off shelves. That's what you're going to see. Big numbers, even bigger than this. The conversation I really want to have with this incredible panel as well as this outstanding chat is, what does this exactly do for us, the gamers, the Xbox Game Pass subscribers? That's what I kind of want to sink my teeth into. So, Hargeet, I'm just going to read you the numbers. I got them in front of me. Everyone put something out there. Ecstasies, I love that dude. Benji Sales, what's not to love about Benji? Obviously, Tom Warren. Henderson put some stuff out there. Everyone was talking about the numbers because they're quite impressive. But I have it broken down, and I pulled this from Ecstasies, where he had it literally broken down in a very easy, digestible way that you can talk about on a podcast. So this is what he had to say, folks. Official Xbox reports have started with impressive records. Notable achievements include a 49% increase in gaming revenue, an impressive 61% increase in Xbox content and services, and a 3% increase in Xbox hardware. This is where it gets kind of crazy, Hargeet. And a staggering 44% growth in Xbox cloud gaming compared to the previous year. Additionally, Microsoft Gaming has set new user records across console, PCs, and mobile devices. Satya Nadella has confirmed the figure of 200 million MAUs, which of course stands for monthly active users, in the Xbox division, highlighting that this success has been driven, among other things, by the acquisition of Activision Blizzard King. Now, obviously, there are numbers to talk about here. And obviously, we have to, because it's a really big deal. But my question to the panel, my question to the chat is very, very simple. Do these numbers indicate, at least to you, Hargeet, that we will never see a Hellblade 2 ported over to a PlayStation 5 because they don't need to do it. They're making money hand over fist. This is what you talked about, the corporate Microsoft of corporate Xbox that we're afraid of, but they're literally making so much money that I don't agree with it, folks. Understand, I don't think anything should go to PlayStation. I don't think anything should go to Nintendo. I think Xbox should just keep their shit to themselves. But if you're gonna tell me, boom, we're stuck with Sea of Thieves. We have a lot of players on PC. We have a lot of players on Xbox. People are playing. We think we can bring in new players and potentially maybe even bring some of those players to our platform by allowing a Sea of Thieves or a Grounded. I'm not going to fight you on it. I'm like, okay, if that's how you're going to sell the biscuit to me, I'm eating, right? There's no problem. What I will not stand for, especially after seeing these numbers, is a Hellblade 2, a Fable, a Gears. None of the tip of the spear franchises should go, and I think these numbers dictate that. Let's talk numbers.
All right, so look, I've been the proponent of saying I don't want any of them going anywhere. Look, I see PlayStation as much more of a single player, story-driven console. Yes, they have casuals, and those casuals are going to play FIFA, Madden, Fortnite, Call of Duty. They don't do well with multiplayer games outside of that, though. That's kind of the problem, right? And trying to push the multiplayer games of PlayStation onto that audience, it hasn't worked. That's why they went away from it. If you're going to tell me that's what, look, Sea of Thieves, one of the games that people keep talking about maybe going over. Okay, Sea of Thieves has 30 million players. Are you really going to tell me that PlayStation players are going to add significantly?
They're not going to do 2 million, maybe
15 to 20 million. Otherwise, what's the point? Tell me why you need to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Why do you need to do it? Right? It's already doing well enough. People are still engaged with it. They're buying content. I just don't see the value, right? They must have numbers that I'm not seeing. I just don't see it, right? If you're going to tell me that it's because it's multiplayer and live, well, then isn't Halo live? And this is why I don't even want to go down that path, right? And you say, okay, well, they said this, case by case basis. That was about ZeniMax games. That was about Bethesda games.
Yeah.
Is Sea of Thieves a Bethesda game? No. It's from the original studio you purchased, Rare. Right? Why are we even talking about it? It's an Xbox Game Studio game. It should be always exclusive to Xbox. Yet we're talking about it. Which makes me think if you're going to go this way, it's going to be all of it. Right? Because then you're going to say, well, Gears, we kind of bought that after the fact. We don't really think it should just stay on. We're going to put that everywhere. Well, okay, so then what gives you the reason to? This is the point. Like it's so terrible right now. PlayStation is in decay, as I was saying. It's state of decay. You have the chance to bring people over to your ecosystem. Why? You actually are showcasing games people might want to play. Right? There's meltdowns. What? Indie isn't going to be on PlayStation? Okay. Guess what? You just got a game people want to play. They might actually just go buy a freaking Xbox. Right? Just Blade. What? That's not going to be a PlayStation. Okay. Well, if you want to play it, just come to Xbox. Right? And they're going to have more of these. It's like, well, at least let them cook. Let your studios cook. Give you some games that people want to play. You have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. People will spend the $200 to buy a freaking Xbox. If you start putting out there, well, this one can go over, that one can go over, this one, then they're going to say, well, it's just eventually going to come over to Nintendo and PlayStation. Why do I care? I'll just wait. I hate that we're even talking about that. I hate we're talking about that. Right now, it's like, this is the good time for Xbox. But we keep bringing that up. And you look at the numbers, and you're like, well, your profitability was what, terrible? No. How much do you make in profit? Oh, you made $22 billion this quarter?
Yeah.
In profit? Yeah. And you're dying? You're not dying, God damn it. You don't have to do this. You just don't have to do this. You literally earned half of what freaking Sony is worth in this 3 months. In 3 months, you will earn and profit what their entire company's worth this year. Why do you need to talk about this? Why?
Yeah,
It's just
it's
not
true.
worth it. There's no point.
Yeah.
There's just no point. Now, for those of folks out there saying, hey, they made a lot of money in revenue and they might be at PlayStation, they're not going to be PlayStation. Okay, PlayStation is still going to make more revenue in the fall quarter. Okay, they haven't released their numbers.
Right.
Let me put it in perspective. The last year, 2022, their fall quarter, they made $9.6 billion. So it's not likely that Microsoft 7.1 is going to beat that. We haven't seen their numbers for 2023 yet. So just bear in mind that when those numbers come out, it'll be higher than Xbox. Just be careful about touting those numbers. For the year, as they continue to keep generating the revenue of Call of Duty and World of Warcraft, that will outdo PlayStation overall, likely. There might be potentials for that to be different, but they don't have a lot of games that are going to be coming, bringing in a lot of revenue on their side either. That's just kind of the problem, right? And the big game of the year, Call of Duty, is going to be marketed by Microsoft. So they're going to kind of maybe take away a little bit of the mind share. So you might see a dip. So I would expect after a year or so, Xbox will end up making more overall. But just be careful about touting those numbers of $7.1 billion. Oh, it's so much. Yeah, I think PlayStation's still going to outdo them for that quarter. But outside of that, they're kicking butt. They're kicking butt. There's no reason to even talk about these things. But we already know that, right? Phil has one philosophy, and yet there's a fight going on of no, we should put our games everywhere, and people should just play them everywhere, right? And that fight is still happening, though Phil is still the head of Xbox, and hopefully he wins. And one of the big rumors was you're going to get Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves announced at their state of play. I guess that didn't happen.
Yeah, that
didn't happen.
Again, my question to you, Hargeet, and again, please, we'll get the rest of the panel in here in a second. Do these numbers fend off that theory, that thought of, well, we have to put? I am in the camp that the numbers that I literally just read on the air are numbers that we've never seen before. It tells me that there is absolutely no reason to put any of your games anywhere but PC, which is the biggest market.
Just Windows anyway.
Right. Put some of these games on mobile, do a mobile store, scale down some of these games, go mobile crazy. I don't give a shit. And keep it on Xbox. There is literally no reason why. And I hate to have taken it in this direction, but I do want to get everyone's thoughts on this. Do these numbers fend off the ideology of putting games, Xbox games, on other platforms? I think it does.
It does for at least this generation. Let it play out. Let's play it out. We got a few years, right? Just let's play it out, and then think about that next generation, right? Let's think about getting to third party. I know they're going to do it eventually. It's going to happen, right? But that's because of expansions that they want to do that they will not be allowed to if they're their own platform and locked down, right? I get all that, right? But not now. You have the opportunity. And look, we have this massive game, Pal World, that came out of nowhere, right? And I've been saying
19 million players.
Exactly, right? And 7 million of them on Xbox. And look, Microsoft needs to go partner with them. And guess what they're doing? They're partnering with them.
Yeah.
It's exactly what they need to do. Look, you need to take advantage of these things. Bring people to your ecosystem. You've got another Zeitgeist game out of nowhere, right? Take advantage. These are the things they need to do. And they can build up that mind share because there's a lot of games people will want to come and play. It's up to them to take advantage of it, right? And next generation, you can start talking about how we're going to, phase into something else, because that would be your acquisitions strategy, right? And that's fine. But you need to at least let this generation finish, and let's see what your games can do for you, right? Let those games come out. If Fable's a hit, you got Avowed coming out. You got, I don't know if Blade's going to make it this generation. Probably going to be next generation. But
it could be a launch title for
the new Xboxes.
Yeah. But all these games are coming, and let those teams cook and give you a reason for people to come to Xbox, and see if it gives you, you know, a bump. Now, year over year, they still did better than they did the year before, right? On hardware sales, 3% higher. The problem is everybody compares them to PlayStation, who did fantastic, right? But they did decline year over year. They still
well, that's the other thing. Their operating cost for Sony is ridiculous.
Yeah. So and Nintendo's Nintendo, they're just crazy. They're just going to keep selling, right? Whatever, fine. We'll just put them in their own category of craziness, right? But look, if you have a healthy business and it works, what's the issue? You're making billions. What's the issue?
Yeah,
keep going. Just keep going. Give people a reason to come to Xbox.
Yeah, I think that when you look at the year they have ahead, right? We know them. They told us what's coming. You had, and again, John Campia talking about Indiana Jones. Like, you know, he people are talking about this game. That dude is as casual as they come. He's a pompous ass, John, but he's a casual gamer, right?
Right.
I call him a pompous ass, not because I didn't like John. I used to watch him daily. I like John Campia. What I didn't like about him is that he called Xbox gamers second-class citizens. I think that was completely out of touch and disrespectful. I did not like that. And he probably got a lot of. I don't think he apologized for it, although he should. But that's why I say he's a pompous ass.
You know why that thing was funny, by the way, real quick, Boom. He says, oh, and his literal quote was, what? Just because you choose to be a second-class citizen is not my problem. But he says it while complaining that he's not going to get the game.
Right.
So who's the second-class citizen?
Yeah, it's dumb. It's just dumb. Listen, it is what it is. Look, Forte, these numbers are ridiculous. Let's call a spade. We know that they are. This is and again, shout out to Tweaktown, because obviously Deke put out something where this is the first time ever that Xbox beat PlayStation, like in the finances ever, in the platform's history. Again, we know why. It's ABK, but mind you, this is only ABK after October. I want to see an entire year of what this is going to look like, and then let's come back to this time next year, and I think we're going to get even higher numbers. I really do, because the minute you can equate a brand like a Treyarch Black Ops that's supposed to be in the Gulf War, and that's on the box of your consoles, people are going to come over to Xbox. The casuals are going to move. But do you feel that these numbers cement any ideology of games being ported over? Even something like Sea of Thieves. I don't think Sea of Thieves needs to go there, because, and I say this, and Hargeet said it for me, PlayStation gamers do not play multiplayer outside of Call of Duty, 2K, Madden, and a few others, a handful of others. They don't play multiplayer like that. And if they are playing multiplayer, it's the kids, and they're playing Apex and they're playing Fortnite. They're not going to play Sea of Thieves. I think it'd be a waste of a port, but I think that these numbers do, at least for me, and I'm not a finance expert. I'm a knucklehead podcaster. I think that Phil could logistically say, look at these numbers. We don't need to port anything.
So you're right. If you look at just the numbers playing off of just what they are, then it does speak to the point that you really don't have to, spread yourself out and put your games in other places. But I think the biggest thing that people got to kind of realize is we all knew this was going to happen when they purchased, but Activision, it's like Xbox finally gets to see the revenue for themselves, how much this game makes, not just for themselves, but for PlayStation 2. For anybody else that all these games, like on PC and everything. So they're getting a wide open view of what this game can do across all platforms. and they already knew it was going to do great. I don't know if they thought it was going to like literally lift the Xbox division to being the third most profitable division inside of Microsoft. I don't think they thought that type of influence was going to happen from it. But the biggest thing that you kind of just got to look at is it's not that PlayStation gamers don't play anything outside of Madden and stuff like that. Because I agree, if you look at their first party output, they sell a quarter of the amount of the games that they sell just because more people buy PlayStation for third party than anything else. First party is literally only 20 to 30% of their market share when it comes to people that buy those games. But I think Microsoft still looks at them as a data point. It's like, that's still a data point of 100 million people that buy games on that platform that don't buy games anywhere else. And Microsoft hasn't been able to show an ability of selling their console at a clip where they could just ignore not putting their games over there. Now, I'm just like you, Boom. I feel like they don't need to do anything. I would rather they keep all their games in-house because it brings more stability to the platform. It makes people feel like I'm buying an Xbox because these are the games that I can only experience over there. And it basically doubles down on that ecosystem. The ecosystem has been Game Pass for the longest now. The console is just kind of a byproduct of just getting people into it. But they just want to put their stuff as many places as possible. And unless you can tell me that Xbox in the next year to 2 years is suddenly going to find a way to sell their console way more than they normally do. And I do think Call of Duty is going to help with that, because I think once the next gen, a lot is going to be spoken on the next generation. When Xbox in 2007 or 2027 or 28, when they release their new console, how is games like Call of Duty going to influence the next generation of gamer if they know that they could get their game in Game Pass and that decision is already made because that's one less game that they have to buy, or just a whole bunch of games they don't have to buy if they just have their subscription service? That's when I think it's really going to hit the rubber meets the road, because I don't think they're going to do like this. They're not going to do like they did with they're going to do like they did with Play Anywhere 2015 when games like Quantum Break came out. Initially, it was on PC, it was on console, but they didn't do that with all their games. They just picked select games to do that with over the course of that couple of years. And then as they got closer to like 2018, 2019, you started seeing more and more games going over to PC and things like that. I think you're going to see like a small rollout until we get to the next generation. And then in that first year or the second year of that next generation, you're going to really see what Xbox's true intent is, because at that point, they already should have swayed a lot of the opinion with Call of Duty being exclusive on their, not exclusive, but being marketed on their system. You know, Game Pass really being a catalyst for a lot of games that's coming out, especially with some of the new IPs that they're releasing this year over the course of the next 2 years. Games won't be a problem for Xbox in 2027. The question is, are they going to still be able to use the console to their benefit and bring in more people in? I think they can, but are they going to be patient enough to do that? Because in Hargy's thing, it just seems like Xbox is trying to rush to a point that they don't need to rush to get to.
Yep.
Because they have all the leverage right now, because they have the games, they have the platform. They just need to stay the course. But are they going to be patient to do that, seeing all the money that they're getting from places like PlayStation, places like Steam, when it comes to the games selling on there? Because that's a lot of revenue that they see, and they're probably starting to say like, hey, if we could do this with Call of Duty, there's a good chance we could do this with some of our other IPs too. Let's hope that's not the case that they do, but it's all about patience at this point. Let's see what happens over the next couple of years and play what we're playing right now, and hope that Xbox doesn't make the decision to like completely dump their games on other platforms before the end of this generation, because they just need to be patient at this point. And I think these numbers speak that they don't have to do it, but are they going to be patient enough not to do it is the question.
That's really what it comes down to. I thought people are talking about somebody was snoring. I don't think it was anyone snoring. I think someone was just breathing heavy, and it came
I didn't think I'm sleeping. Everybody's accusing me of sleeping. I'm like,
oh man, you went to sleep on us, man. You got your camera on.
No.
We can't tell.
I was actually playing Mario.
Good on you.
Donkey
Good on
Kong,
you.
but okay. Anyway,
Listen, real quick, Asante, I want to get you in on this because obviously I know you have a lot to say. Quickly, Scott Gamer Dude drops an additional very generous $5 super chat and says, "Hello, Boom. Is the Resident Evil 2 that just came out onto Game Pass, is that the original one or a remake?" That is the remake. The
That's a
original
remake.
released in
the remake.
1998 on the PlayStation 1, and I have every version of it that was ever released in Japan here. It is one of my favorite IPs of all time. That's my favorite game of all time, and that's why I use Resident Evil 2 by Capcom, the 2019 version, as the benchmark on what a remake needs to be. 3 was good. It wasn't great because they cut out a lot. Like there's a whole lot of the Nemesis stuff. They cut out the Raccoon City Zoo. I mean, I'm a Resident Evil freak, so I know everything about it. And 3 was good. It just wasn't great. 2 was magnificent. So yeah, it's the remake, and it's chef's kiss. Bold Alpha Wolfpack, hey brother, welcome to the program, and thank you so much for the very generous $10 super chat. And says Game Pass is the real exclusive, right? I believe so. He says if Phil wants to grow these IPs and generate more revenue for competition, who's gonna check him? He's always done what's best. I don't question the leadership at Xbox. Yeah, I think that they have the proper leadership to fend off any corporate stooge behavior. And I think why I'm not worried about that happening, like Hargeet, like, and even everyone was like, they have concerns for the corporateness of getting into Xbox because he goes right to Satya Nadella. And Satya Nadella put him in charge because he trusts Phil. And Phil's a gamer, and he understands that he needs to win us. Now, granted, yes, I understand the hardcore, the 600 people that are here, the 700 people that were here, we're hardcore, and you need us. You cannot make us the back burner. I'm not trying to be like full of shit or anything. You need to cater to your hardcore. And the casuals will follow. That's usually how it works. That's how Sony won the last gen. The hardcore sold the cool console to the people who only buy one game a year, and that's what happened. Talking around water coolers. Oh my God, you played Spider-Man. What Spider-Man? What are you talking about? That needs to happen for Xbox. Xbox needs to cater to its hardcore audience. Highlander 001 drops a very generous additional $2 super chat and says, just wait until ABK games hit Game Pass. Yeah, that is going to be a day of days, and it might even be an emergency podcast because I'm retired and I'm always ready to rock and roll, and Hargeet will be there as well. Spartan 661 drops a generous $10 super chat and says, you have the best of YouTube podcasters. Wow, dude, that's very kind of you on your show weekly. Thank you for doing what you do, Boom, sir. Thank all of you other podcasters for joining the panel when you can and having a great conversation. Spartan, that's very kind of you to say, brother. We super appreciate the generosity, but of course the kind words are welcomed. Crippling debt. He says this after dropping a very generous $5 super chat. I'm super behind, but Hargeet, you can't call it a state of play, the state of decay, because state of decay is actually great now. I saw someone say the state of disappointment is someone else is running with.
I just think it's a funny thing to say.
It is because they are technically dying. They really are. It's sad. Scott Gamer Dude drops an additional $10 super chat. Scott, thank you for the generosity. He says, hello, Boom and panel. So Power World costs $7 million to make, correct? 18 million copies sold now. That is roughly they made 540 million back. That's amazing. Yeah, you know what?
I wouldn't put it at that high. Maybe about 200-ish in that range.
It's probably closer. Yeah, it's
250 in that range, something like that.
Yeah,
remember, this is not a $70 game.
it's $30.
Yeah.
And in some instances there was a 10% off sale in some of the digital stores. So the number it's going to fluctuate, but yeah, they made a killing.
Certainly made their money
Tomorrow,
back.
They did. Tomorrow, I'm sitting down at noon with C Money to talk about Pal World. 19 million players, seven of which were on Xbox. I would imagine through Xbox Game Pass. That's a big deal. As a matter of fact, quick some show notes for tomorrow. It is currently the third biggest launch on Xbox Game Pass in the platform's history since inception of 2017. Just take that into account. And tomorrow's February 1st, my nephew's birthday. Happy birthday early, Tyler.
It's the largest third party, I think.
Largest third party, yes, yeah, it's a big deal. Oh, and Highlander 001, not to be outdone again, he gives 5 more Double Barrel Gaming memberships, brother. That is crazy generous of you. And by the way, Sean Labrie is making an entire new set of icons for all of the channel members. He's currently working on 20 of them. I believe 10 of them are going to be Xbox dedicated. There's going to be 5 PlayStation and I believe 5 Nintendo ones. And then we're going to try and work on a few others. But yeah, he's working on 20 new icons that you can throw into the chat. So thank you. And again, this is where we put the money back into the channel. But Asante, these numbers are they're crazy. I expected high numbers. I didn't expect this. I don't think Microsoft expected this.
Well, obviously, these numbers also are these numbers including Call of Duty as well, or this is without? This is including. Call of Duty.
This is with Call of Duty, 100%.
So then I'm 100% expecting this, right? We always heard that Call of Duty was the 11-pound gorilla in the room, and now you get to see it, right? You get to see it, like they get to see it in their wallets, right? So that's what it is, you know. Now, I do think it's super interesting how you frame the question as to what will it do for us consumers, because I too share that concern. Right? I share that concern. And the thing that I hear a lot of people say, and I agree with that. I agree by and large with the sentiment that, hey, you know, all the historical evidence you've had, Microsoft, has been based on, I wouldn't say bad data, but data based on content that people didn't like. So now that you have a flywheel of great content coming, why not wait and see what that does instead of taking action?
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Why not wait and see? Because presumably, if there's action being taken, it's being taken because they've looked at their history and going, we've had some interesting games. It still didn't move the needle, so let's put it everywhere, right? But your audience is telling you that all those games you had before didn't really hit that bar that they were looking for. And now you look like you might be hitting that bar you're looking for. So my bit of criticism is, why not wait and see what this new crop does before you start moving and doing everything else?
Yep.
What I will say though, right? And that's why I share Hargeet's concern. What I will say is a lot of people think with their own wallets. And unfortunately, when you do that, right, you can never understand Microsoft, right? You go, bro, I got so much money in my pocket. Why do I need more? I'm good. Microsoft is like, I did not turn into a $2, sometimes $3 trillion company by leaving even a penny on the table. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
If it's on the table, it's mine.
You're right.
Right? That is why they are the richest company.
And they're peeping into your wallet to take your money. Yeah.
In the world. No one beats them. Apple used to, as of a week ago and still going. They have not. They are, and they trade, right? They are the most valuable, most cash-rich company in the world because they are not in the business of leaving cash on the table. So it doesn't matter if they have all of the cash. If there's still some on the table, a la PlayStation dudes wanting to buy certain games, they will look at it. Because even though, and I completely agree with all of you guys, right? Even though, Satya's like, Phil is very much a gamer and they have gamer sensibility and they know what that's all about. What Everborn has said it before, and I kind of agree, and I'm agreeing with what Hargeet's saying. It's almost like when back in the day, you were, Skunkworks project in the basement. We don't care what you do. If you go away, you're it's just a blip on the radar. No big deal.
Yeah.
Now you borrowed Big Dog Papa's money, like a lot of Papa's money, and then you turned it around, and now it looks like you've done right with that money, so much so that you now have a bigger budget than Windows, which is what brought them to the dance in the first place.
Yes.
Gaming has a bigger budget than Windows. What that tells me is now the moneyed interests are eyeballing, right? They need ROI quickly. Where is it, right? And of course, that's why you have people like Sarah and Phil at the helm, kind of keeping it back. The fear is, are they holding the monsoon back with just their hands? Or are people actually listening to them and taking action based on their expertise in this area? Because obviously, they would be the gamers when we have this conversation at Microsoft. Nobody else would be the SMEs. It would be Phil, Sarah, Peaches, all of them, right?
Yep.
Right? It would be all of them. You talk to them to get the lay of the land because that's their expertise. The question I fear is when they say, hold up, pump your brakes, we finally have stuff the gamers want, it might turn around. Do the moneyed interests go, okay, I guess we'll go sit back down? Or do they go, nah, homie, you spent $70 billion. I need that ROI yesterday. That's my concern, right? So I hear what people say about all that, and I agree with you by and large, but that's where, and I say that facetiously, but that's where I sometimes say we are horseshoe makers watching cars drive by, right? The model, that PlayStation model that worked, the Nintendo model that's been working for 30, 40 years. Yeah, that's the old horse and buggy model that's been around forever, right? Microsoft is talking about that, George Jetson fly in space model that no one's seen before, that no one has any kind of historical evidence to say it works or doesn't work, right? It's a big crapshoot. They could completely lose the thread. But the reason why we all complain is because we are horseshoe makers watching the Jetsons come overhead. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, the like PlayStation, right? If you look at Sony's bottom line, everybody's looking at what is PlayStation doing because I need that money, right?
That's right.
This is one of the top 3 revenue generators now. That's just a fact, right?
Yeah.
And it's only going to get bigger.
It's going to get bigger. Yeah.
As that happens, investors are going to look at it and say, okay, what did I get from this? Right?
Yeah.
Not to your point. It's that Phil mindset of saying, look, I understand this industry. Let me cook. Right?
And shut up and sit down. I'll let you count your money later.
I will give you your return. Right? And that's
it.
That's what it needs to be, right? And hopefully
the question is, do the moneyed interests listen? That's my question.
And
because that concern is real.
If he didn't have Satya's ear, I'd be concerned. But Satya and Nadella,
I hope it's good. I hope it's good.
I do. I do.
I hope it's good.
I have faith in the leadership. I have faith that Satya Nadella is not going to all of a sudden change his mind. On trusting Phil and Sarah and Peaches to do what they are there to do. They've made some big moves. They've put people in positions where they think they're going to succeed. I don't see a big change coming, at least in this generation. I think like what you were saying, listen, you're going to count your money. I'm going to get you the ROI. You got to let me cook. We have, look at what we're doing, and we have even more in the pipeline that's going to bring even more revenue. And I think that, again, folks, if you think that this quarter was insane,
it's going to get
telling you, it is going to actually get better. It really, really is. And all I from me, and I'm putting myself on the stand here. I don't care about how much money they're making, to be honest with you, because I'm not making any of that money. Where I care is I'm a retired guy who has a fantastic pension, and I want my dollar to go further.
Yeah.
And the Xbox Game Pass, and I say this, and I say it with heart and truth. It allows every financial station to be a part of the conversation. It is the only entertainment thing out there that is this affordable versus what you're getting and what you're spending. There is
even Netflix is not that affordable anymore.
No, it's really
not.
No,
right?
Everything is so high, but I'm just saying, like, your $16.99.
Or tell your mic. I didn't hear you, sir.
Oh yeah, I think I said it's $24 that I paid now.
Oh yeah,
me too.
Us too.
I got a message a few days ago. I'm like, what the hell, man? They just keep increasing.
For $17, you're getting a vow this year
It's
Hellblade.
crazy how much you get, right?
It's
And a whole bunch of EA
yeah.
games, right? Let's not forget we get
and then
EA
all
games.
of the Activision stuff is gonna be dumped into Game Pass at
Yep.
some point. The
I think that's
entire
underrated
Call of
too.
Duty. Yeah, it's crazy. But look,
So,
This is-
Asante, one thing that's interesting, and this goes way into the other, like the back part and part of it, and you probably know about this, is, part of it is the technology that Xbox will drive that they can then sell on the back end, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
The ability to make games with AI, for instance, is something we may not
Absolutely.
even like, but they're going to create that stuff and say, this is a product that
Yep.
Microsoft can sell
It's
to other
already
people,
created.
right?
the
And that's the kind of stuff they're
PlayFab.
doing, right?
There's an online cloud right now where you
I
have
hear ya.
everything except your engine, and that's
Right.
coming soon. And then
So-
they'll add the AI components as well. Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like Phil is not just saying, hey, it's just the revenue driven from just me selling stuff. It's also I'm creating new
The
technologies
engines.
and products that Xbox will deliver to Microsoft, and Microsoft can go
That's
sell
the
to everybody else.
stuff. That's
right?
the stuff that we're hoping that the money guys will go. Okay, we'll go over here and be busy with this
Yeah.
while you do this gaming thing, because that is what will make them excited while
and what-
leaving the gamers alone. We hope.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the examples of that
Yeah.
was when Satya went to Sony, right? To the CEO of Sony and said, hey, you
Mhm.
can use our gaming cloud product that was
Mhm.
created by our Xbox division, and we will productize that and give it to you. They didn't use it, but
Yeah.
but that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
That this is what they look at is, how do I take whatever we're driving over here? Yes, we're spending money. Can I make that into a product I can sell? Like in the back end, can I sell that to other people and make more money, right? Azure is the top bucket, right? That's the top bucket of money maker. And if they can add more services to that and say, hey, we can make game dev easier, we can make scaling your game easier, right? All that stuff, right? So these are like things that they can get from just having all these dev studios work through that.
Look,
right?
we have this QA arm that doesn't involve a lot of humans, because look, we can do now with
Right?
generative,
We'll
like
productize it. Here you
Yeah.
go, right? And
Oh,
we
yeah.
can sell
Oh,
it
yeah.
to you, right?
It's-
And that,
Look, again, I think we have really broken down what these numbers mean, and I think this is literally just the start of it. I really do. When we hit Christmas next, I say next year, when we hit Christmas, when the season at the end of 24, it's you're going to see an Xbox you've never seen before. The machine is going to be just destroying everything in its path. And like I said, Nintendo could fend off anyone. They have a new console. They have a lot of games supposedly releasing with it. I don't doubt it. Sony is the one that it seems like they're going to be limping, and they may be crawling, but we will soon see. Listen, let me get these last super chats. We'll get everyone out of here. Munch drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, did you hear about Sega laying off 10,000 employees? Yes, I did. I actually made mention of that to Sith Lord in the chat. That's devastating. As a matter of fact, I mean, again, 10,000 employees from UPS are being let go as well. I mean, it is not a good year. By the time the month actually ends, there's going to be quite a few. I mean, I don't know if they're going to hit the like triple digits, but there's been a lot of layoffs. It's scary. It is terrifying.
It's pretty bad.
It's something to be real concerned about. Dragon Blade 79 drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "You four are in my head. I hope Phil and Xbox see it. I believe that they do, and they listen to shows. I don't know specifically. I know some people from Xbox listen to this show. I can't say Phil does or has, but they are listening and they are watching." And Michael Mooney drops a very generous £5 super chat and says, with WB starting to lose control of DC characters in 10 years' time, is there any sort of WB deal points? I don't know. There was originally some talk that they were considering it, and it fell apart because ABK came in, and I think what held up the deal, because there was some talk about them buying them, is they didn't want to relinquish the IP. And I'm not investing in your company if I have no control. If I don't own Superman, I don't want a part of it. Because if they owned all of the DC characters, they could logistically do some big things. But let's get everyone out of here. A big thank you to all 22 super chats thank you so much. And obviously, we are going to reinvest those into the big giveaways. We have 4 already announced for the year. We may add some in the middle of the year. I think we're going to do something big in June. I'm kind of working with the finances. Well, Mrs. Boom is, hold on a second. Mrs. Boom is working with the finances. She handles all the money. I think we're going to try and do something in June as well. Because again, we can't do this without super chats, without the channel membership. So we want to give it back to the peoples. And that's what we're doing. So big thank you to all that. Forte, let's sell your brand, brother. DPS obviously is something you do weekly with slow-mo backslap. The work you are a community icon for a reason. People love the work that you do. We love that you came back here tonight to hang out with us. Sell your brand, brother. Talk about where people can check out your show, and more importantly, subscribe and reach out to you on social media.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. It's a great show, great conversation, and a lot of stuff to talk about. Trust me, it's going to be even more to talk about over the course of the next couple of weeks, so it won't be the last time I'm here. For myself, Gaming Forte, YouTube, Twitter, Xbox Live, PlayStation. DPS podcast is every Thursday, 9 p.m. This week. You will check it out on my channel. Please come through, check us out with the homie Slow-Mo Backslap. It's an amazing time. We did a stream. He did a stream earlier talking about the state of play. So if you want to hear some of our thoughts about after the show, come check that out over there. It was great. Nice. And with that being said, hey, I think that's about it. Oh, yeah. Enjoy the games that you're playing. Final Fantasy Rebirth. Can't wait for that. That's literally the only game that I'm looking forward to as of right now for the first quarter. I just can't wait to play that game. So whatever game you guys are looking forward to, be on the lookout for it. And happy gaming.
Yeah, thanks so much, brother. Appreciate that. Hargeet Chani, sell the brand of Game On Daily. Not only do you occasionally, or more often than not, hang out with Asa and of course Gaz, Mr. Sauce Master. Obviously, they do a great show, but Asa has a new show coming out tomorrow.
Yep.
Let's talk about it, man.
Yeah, so check that out. He's changed his channel name, and I'll have to freaking look it up because I don't even remember what the heck he changed it to. But it's they'll have Deadly Headley and Gamsley. Is that how you say it?
Gamsley, yes.
Gamsley,
yes.
Right? On Asa's channel. It was Game on Asa. So hopefully that still works. But also just check out youtube.com/GameOnDaily and GameOnDaily.com. And then also check out Fonz's channel, Fonz Gaming, and I'm on there on Sundays at 6 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, co-hosting Games Talk Live.
I put it in the chat. Ace's new channel is called Gaming Arcadia.
Gaming Arcadia, that's right. That's
okay,
right.
Nice.
Yes.
I like that name.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I am H Chani on Discord and Xbox, and we'll talk next week on Primetime Gaming. Unless something crazy happens and I show up here talking about whatever crazy thing happens, because that seems to be happening a lot these days.
It really has. It's been crazy. Like, you've shown up quite a bit because we've had breaking news left, right, and center. So we definitely appreciate that. Guro Shelley has become a new channel member. Well, thank you so much for that. Super appreciate the generosity, and I'm glad that you are here. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Kay Asante, let's talk about the Gaming Circle podcast. Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, with yourself, and of course, Everborn Saga. And not only that, you have a show on Mondays with Mr. John Wolf called The Gamers Playground. Talk about it, brother. Sell the brand, and where can people subscribe and reach out to you on social media?
So first off, always great to have a chance to, chop it up with the great Forte. Always good to chat with you, good sir. And of course,
absolutely, sir.
It's weird that you're not on socials, man. You catch all this information, but you're not on social. You're gonna have to tell me how you do that. Anyway,
I think it's Discord.
Yeah, it might be Discord. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. Because
shout out to Idle Slot. He has a Discord server that aggregates all this Twitter stuff for me, so I can just see the stuff there.
So you miss all the BS and catch the good stuff. That's good.
Yes,
That's good.
exactly.
I might have to look into that. All right. Well, so as mentioned by Boom, you can catch me and Mr. Everborn Saga on Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Gaming Circle podcast. Basically, this week will be probably, if I can not stop him, it'll be freaking Everborn talking about how amazing Sonic was.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that blip on the radar that just came and went. Yeah, he's gonna talk about it for 3 hours. Anyway, Just kidding. We'll make sure we keep it concise, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, we will be talking about more of State of Play stuff. We'll be talking a bit about the financials and kind of do some more thought experiments as we do. So come check us out Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, as you said, myself and John Wolf do the Gamers Playground on Monday nights. And that is literally PCMR talk. That is handheld talk. That is emulation talk. That is, come teach us something or come and learn something. We hang out, we have fun. Basically, it's an excuse for myself and John to catch up every week. And he has cool new gadgets that he needs me to help him configure or whatever, or we're just talking about it. It's always a great time. So come check us out. That is Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thank you guys once more. I appreciate it. And we'll be back next week, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with us for 2+ hours. Hopefully you enjoyed the conversation. It was a lot of fun. It went like this. Obviously, don't forget, there's still 2 more shows for Double Barrel Gaming. We have Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Myself and C Money. I've already written the script. I sent it over. We're gonna have a great conversation there tomorrow. And of course, Breakfast with Boom, 10 a.m. Eastern, a Friday morning. And obviously, with this, there's still a lot of news to get in. I have like what I do is, so I don't lose, is I DM myself all these stories so I could just go and I can find them. There is so much to talk about. It's crazy, but thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm going to close out today's show with something that's important to me, folks. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends.